Peace, love, and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Get This Wisdom Live. I am your co-host for the evening, Shakti Sterner, and we were supposed to have this powerful show last night, but things got pretty hectic with what's going down there in Houston and everything. So the brother, the king, the God himself, Shakem, was gracious enough to say, you know what, just give it go on and get your rest, give it some time, and I'm always here. So he's here with us tonight, and I am very excited, family. I must say, this comes upon a time where our people are moving in directions that are solidifying their positions in the world, and we have some people doing some different things, but it seems as though the ends are justifying the means. So, brother, how are you? Please give the family a little bit of your history so they know exactly the powerhouse that we are dealing with tonight.
Hey, peace family. This is Brother Shakem. I'm in Hotep Arquette down here in Charleston, South Carolina. Started off, man, doing a lot of work in the community. 2010, I was released from the federal prison in Yazoo City, Mississippi. Ever since then, I was a man on a mission. In the system, I realized that, we as a people, especially as, Black people, we got to really try to repair the damage that has been done to us. And I studied a lot of information and a lot of literature. And I wanted to basically give back to my community because for so long, I was one who actually perpetuated a lot of the ill will and the destruction in the community. So my activism began. I just grew and developed. I wanted to. One of the goals was to base my community activism on community service work. So when I started to think about establishing my platform, I wanted it to be built and centered around providing resources to the community. I was really peculiar on how I built my brand. And that's kind of like how I did it, giving resources to the community. I started off with initiatives with feeding the homeless, helping our homeless, talking to homeless people sleeping on park benches, people who just really couldn't get jobs. I was a GED teacher my whole time in the federal prison. I started off teaching GED when I was at the federal prison in Edgefield, South Carolina. Then I went to Williamsburg, South Carolina, and that during those, in those prisons, I was the GED teacher. So, I understood how the lack of education actually kept a high rate of recidivism on the streets. One of the things that I learned real often when I was in the GED class and running the GED program is that a lot of brothers in prison couldn't read. And there's something that they would classify them as whenever we got the records, and they would classify them as being functionally illiterate. So that means a lot of them, when they classified them, deemed them as functionally illiterate, most of these individuals could not read past a fourth grade reading level. And, we've all heard a lot of, stories and studies about them being able to predict the amount of inmates that they would have in the system due to the low reading level. So that's kind of like, how I began to, feel my way into activism. And then I started defining clear goals, set expectations, and I've just been going from there and trying to really, build my brand and help out the community.
Indeed, very powerful and very meaningful. I was sitting back listening to you eloquently speak upon how you actually got into activism and how you specifically designed your platform. So that shows a lot of logistics going on with you. A lot of our people don't even think about what the hell they about to push to the people. They just get to talking and yapping and a lot of noise, so it doesn't even make a sense what they're trying to convey in their message. So I personally thank you for that. Now, you know where I'm going, brother. You know where I'm going.
Let's go.
So,
I'm ready.
I guess it was like last week, 2 weeks ago. I'm doing my thing. I'm on Facebook getting some stuff ready for the show, and I come across a status. And I said, first off, let me read this status. I know that name that's tagged in that status, but let me see what it's about. And it was definitely somebody who was feeling a certain type of way due to seeing our beautiful brother in some photos with a white nationalist. So it piqued my interest. So I had to do a little investigation. So I comes to the Brother Shakem page and I see the photos. I said, what in the flying what is this? So I reached out. I went to the all extremes, even making a Facebook status to get in touch with the king so he could come on and talk with us because, in this present day, get in the Black Power movement, you just don't see that type of thing readily. So we wanted to get to the man himself in the photo so he could share exactly what is going on with that. So there is no question as to his motive, what he was trying to do. We got him here right now. So please, King, tell us what that photo was about.
Man, I thank you for bringing that up. And you know me, right? I think that I'm a master strategist right now. And there's a lot of people that don't like what I do. Totally understandable. And there's a lot of people that love what I do. Totally understandable. So my thing is, whenever I have to sit down and make real tough decisions, because as leaders know, and people who are leaders in their community, we know that there comes a time to where you're going to have to make a tough call. So anytime I sit back and I think about the tough calls that I got to make, I take several things into consideration. One of the first things I take into consideration is, does the end result help the community or hurt the community? And when I consult with the individuals around me, that's one of the first things we actually, kind of ponder on and ask ourselves. Then the second thing that we ask ourselves, who are going to be the individuals who support and who are going to be the individuals who are going to be naysayers? And then from there, the next thing that I sit back and I think about is the individuals who will be naysayers. Will their voices be pivotal in bringing people to my page? And then whenever they come and do their investigating, when they look, do I have enough goodwill and capital built up in the community that when a person sits back and they look at my page, they say, you know what? That brother is nowhere near what that person said. So I sit back and I take all these things in consideration whenever I have to make a tough move, and then it goes. So now let me give you the background on the press conference. Now we all know in South Carolina, we're probably one of the most racist states. And a lot of people who've been on my page and been following me for a while, they've known that for the last several years that we've been in a fight with the most, I would say, powerful mayor in the state of South Carolina. This mayor actually he's over a city that is primarily black, a large majority black. Yet and still, his budget is around $500 million. Yet the black community only gets pennies when we're speaking in terms of economic growth and development. Last year, there was over $67 million in contracts that were given in the city of North Charleston. However, blacks only received 2% of the $67 million in contract, but the city is 53% black. So when you start looking at the economic development and the gentrification, last year, the city of Charleston was ruled the #1 fastest gentrifying city in the United States. Now, we've been at and I have a lot of videos of, me confronting him, me and a lot of brothers that are with me. So we've been in a fight. Our main goal is we want to seize control of the economic, we want to seize control of the economics of the city. We want to seize control of the political realm of the city. We want to seize control of the city because it's our city. It's primarily black. So our agenda is for young black men like me and others who are with me to have a complete control over a city that's primarily black. Now, we've been digging in and fighting. So now all of a sudden, right, here comes this national issue of the Confederate flag and the statues and white nationalism and all of that, right? So you have these far left-wing groups like Antifa or Antifa, whatever you want to call them. And you have these other groups, right? And what they were doing is they were using the momentum of the national media, and they were taking attention away from the problem that we really have in the black community as far as gentrification, crime, economic starvation, underperforming schools. They were taking our momentum that we had already, gathered, and they were putting it on these symbolic, meaningless victories that have had would not change anything in the black community. So at that point, I sat down and I said, how is it that I can create some type of diversion? I had to create something that will allow me to change the narrative from Antifa and all of these other democratic socialist groups that were, trying to say, oh yeah, we're going to put all this energy and take the statue down. Take the statue down. And as you know, 2015, Dylan Roof came in the city and did what he did. We had the Klan rally in 2015 when we went and fought the Klan. I mean, all of this is, information that a lot of people know. So what we wanted to do is somehow, when I sat down, I said, how is it that I can actually do something that will change the narrative? That's the first thing we wanted to do. When I strategized, there were three things. First thing I wanted to do was change the narrative. The second thing I needed to do is be able to reach enough people to where my voice would be able to fall on enough ears to where it would have a substantial change when I wanted to change that narrative. And the third thing, ultimately, that after we changed the narrative, I wanted to be able to bring it back home. And while I bring it back home, I want to be able to say deep down within my heart, I never sold out. Now, I was saying earlier, right, I'm a graphic design artist. So in the graphic design world, one of the things that gets people attention is signs and symbols. Signs and symbols are enough to take somebody's mind that is really not paying attention, and at that moment when they see that image, they automatically pay attention. And that's why when you create a flyer, they say your flyer must be able to elicit some type of emotional response in a person, because there's only a 3-second span that people have when they pay attention to certain images. So as I begin to sit back and think and strategize and talk to a lot of people around me, I said, you know what? One of the things that we're going to end up having to do is, I said, one of these groups, and the guy, Tyler Bessinger, Tyler Bessinger, the guy who is from the Secessionist Party, I knew him. I really kind of didn't talk to him. I've known him for a little while, though. They're secessionists. So one of the things that I saw is with this ideology of secessionists, they basically want the same thing we want. We want our own land, they want our own land. They don't want to control our organizations. They don't want to fly our flag. We don't want to fly their flag. They don't want to, they don't want to control the narrative of our organization. We don't want nothing to do with their organization. Right? So the concept that I firmly believe in self-determination, if done properly, these individuals, because you can't never trust them, right? You don't never trust them, but you keep them close enough to where if you got to destroy one of them, you can destroy them. But since they are not integrationists, they're secessionists, you'd be able to at least not run the risk of having someone from the outside want to give you money and control your organization, then tell you what to do, then become whitewashed, and then you become a new Black Lives Matter when you have a black face, but you have a white ideology and white people funding you. So the Secessionist Party was in creating, this diversion that I wanted to create. The Secessionist Party was the prime candidate that I can use to actually enact what I wanted to do. So we had the press conference. Now, in the press conference, we did two of them. I'm going to explain. The first press conference we did, I told everybody that, hey, one, this is not our fight, right? We don't want to be violent over a situation like a monument, a Confederate monument. We don't want to be violent over that. In the event that our people are violent, we want to make sure that we are using violence strategically, A, because we know we're outnumbered, so we have to utilize guerrilla warfare. B, not only are we outnumbered, but if we are not smart and strategic in the way that we utilize violence, if we go against a foe that is more heavily armed than us, then ultimately we lose. So we have to be very cautious about how we teach people to defend, to go on the offensive. So I felt that this issue was one that we didn't need to go offensive. It was, nothing. You take down the statue, then we still got all these other problems. We made it specifically clear at the press conference, right? Because there was a lot of naysayers there. I don't know. I already knew that. That comes with the territory. But we made it, there was several key points that we wanted to make specifically clear. One of the main key points was that we are not changing each other's mind. Everybody's ideology still stands. A, they will continue to fly their flag. B, we will continue to fly our flag. Nothing changes. We just want to make sure that, A, on my end, I didn't want to see any black people out there like how they were in Charlottesville, and then you get run over by cars, and you got a bunch of white people out here fighting. I didn't want that to happen because I thought it was useless. And a lot of black people thought it was useless also. Now, and on his end, it was the same thing. He told his people, hey, y'all don't even need to go out there. And what happens is, when we brought these two, I would say, polarizing organizations together, the picture of what you saw was enough to make anybody stop and say, whoa, what in the world is going on? And what you did is exactly what we wanted to happen. I wanted you to stop and say, whoa, what's going on? Click on the article and read it. And I knew, like I said, I knew there was going to be, I already knew off the top I was going to have Tariq Nasheed. Oh, yeah, he's an agent. I already get all of that, right? And, to be honest with you, every time somebody does that, I always end up getting 100 friend requests out of the blue from people just coming on my page and looking. Now, so that was a major success. A lot of people saw it, and our message got out. And I was able to continue with another press conference. So the second press conference that we did, I said, you know what? Now, since this white boy has the attention of the people here locally, because I'm thinking locally. Well, outside of the area, I didn't really too much care because I knew my major audience would be in the city, so I wanted to be able to get as many listeners as feasible. So now, since I had everybody's attention, I said, what can I utilize this white boy for, as far as our message is concerned? Because remember now, my strategy was to change the narrative, right? So now I had the white boy up there speaking. You know what I had him speak about? Gentrification in the city. I had him speak about economic starvation in the city. You know what I spoke about? I said, listen, we took the Confederate flag down. Go ahead and put it in the museum. Just put it in the museum. Let them boys go home. Then that's it. We already took it down. The legislator, y'all said y'all was going to put it in the museum? Go ahead and throw it in the museum. And then I had the white boy come. He started talking about all the issues that we were facing in the black community. It's the art of war. It's nothing but an old strategy that generals use whenever they want to create some sort of event that will bring the people back to the overall strategy. And overall, I think I was successful. Sorry about that long rant.
It's okay. We needed that. We needed it because it was a lot of our family out there that was very confused and concerned. And we needed that to hear exactly what you were thinking and how would that benefit the work that's being done, not only in South Carolina, but all across the country, so definitely thank you. And do you mind going into a little bit more about your platform and what is the main objective of such.
Well, I built an organization called Asafo Community Development Association. And when I built the South Carolina Community Development Association, my main goal was to actually funnel resources into the Black community. Now, when I started digging, right, because I formed it under a 501c3. I know people are like, oh, the 501c3, the political, this and that, but I keep a South Carolina Community Development Association separate from what I do when I'm in the political realm. So a South Carolina Community Development Association, our mission, what we do is we dig and we partner with other nonprofit organizations that are in the area that don't really have that vehicle to push their resources in the community. And then a lot of times some of the initiatives that they have end up failing and the money is never used. Perfect example. We just actually helped a company by the name of Floor Lane. They had 150 jobs. They were doing some construction in the area. They had 150 jobs. They reached out, said, what we're going to do is help. The job started off background check. No, none of that. They just said all you got to do is pass the drug test. That's a perfect way for the brothers and sisters who were in the federal halfway house that I left out in 2010. It was an opportunity for me to go and get them jobs coming out of federal prison, making $15 an hour. Boom. Now we have more work with another nonprofit organization named Lansing, Low Country Alliance for Model Communities. What they do is they give out scholarships to certain children in communities that are way underserved. So what we do with them, we partner with them and do interviews and talk to, students that are in high school to help them go and get scholarships paid for by this nonprofit organization. So what I wanted to do is help out in a way that our people can excel and succeed. So that's kind of like our main focus point is funneling resources into the community. And that's why deep down in my heart, when I made that controversial decision that I did, I knew that I had the political capital. And I put up a post and I said, yo, listen, sometimes when you got political capital, you got to spend it. And I knew I had the political capital because of the work that's done in the community. We do mentoring. We always in the school system. I mean, we help in everything that is out there that we can push for, we do it. So I knew that I could make a move like that, a controversial move, and I still don't lose a step because I've already built up so much trust in the community that they trust my decision making. And even if the move doesn't seem at first, it's kind of hard to decipher, in the end it pays off. Just like in the end now, nobody's even talking about the statues, and it's back to business.
Indeed. So can you make it loud and clear one time for those who are saying that Shakem is an integrationalist? Can you kind of put that to rest?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? I mean, of course, people are gonna say what they want to say. I mean, which is all good, which is all fine with me, right? Because like Floyd Money Mayweather says, it comes with the territory. So anything you do, it comes with the territory. So they can say, well, Shakem is an integrationist, Shakem is an Asian, all of the stuff that everybody says about everybody else, right? Because we know in the conscious community, if you disagree with somebody on somebody's post, they're going to call you Asian. If you take a picture with a white person, they're going to call you an integrationist. So at the end of the day, right? I mean, I'm not an integrationist, because there's no way for me to force white people to live amongst black people. That's not my mission. My mission is to funnel resources from areas that they are available into the black community and give brothers and sisters a chance to build that human potential. So, I mean, of course I'm not an integrationist because I'm all for my people. But at the end of the day, I think that the accumulation of resources is by far the best form of activism and the best form of revolution that we can have.
Indeed. And this is a question that I was asked to ask you. So, when you were taking that photo, what exactly was going through your mind, and how did you feel our ancestors would think about having the RBG next to that Confederate flag?
They wouldn't care. Look at what I was accomplishing. See, you got to look at the big picture. When you look at a photo, you got to look at the big picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
For one, my ancestors would be 100% proud of me. You know why my ancestors would be 100% proud of me? Because the end result of what I was doing was bettering the black community, because it was all a part of a bigger scheme to say, yo, listen, we need to be talking about the issues that we have in this city, right? So people get caught up on our flag is next to, listen, when you fly your flag, I mean, look at the Moors. They got the damn American flag next to their flag. I mean, it does. See, we get too caught up on the symbols, right? We get caught up on that, and we're not really understanding the substance. So, I mean, the ancestors would be totally proud of me. What ancestor wouldn't be mad that we're out here trying to make sure that mothers, single mothers who are struggling, are able to go to college? Ancestors wouldn't be mad at that. But the ancestors wouldn't be. The other day, I posted on Facebook, we were able to raise money, and we paid for 9 people. I originally started off with 3, but we ended up with 9. We was able to pay for 9 people to get their record expunged. So these are the things that we're doing to help the community. And now when these 9 people get their record expunged, guess what? They don't got to worry about checking the box too much about being a convicted felon. So, I mean, you got to look at small-minded people are going to look at, oh, our flag was next to their flag. But in the end, whenever you affect somebody's lives, when you affect somebody's life in a manner that's going to help them bring out their human potential, that's the big picture.
Indeed, brother. I see your perspective on that. So, moving forward, what can you say is most necessary in this what we call a revolution? What do you think is most necessary at this present time for us to be focused on?
Well, this is the thing. It's multifaceted. And I believe that once a person finds out what they're good at and they really truly understand their human potential, whatever area it is that they excel in, then that's the area that they're most fundamentally, that's the area where they're most effective at in the revolution. Right? So some people are very economically savvy, and they're brilliant at making money. They're brilliant at conjuring up ideas that just open up a world of opportunities to where others can learn from them. And they can kind of like connect the dots and kind of navigate through a system of white supremacy, but then they could turn around and give those resources back to the people. That might be your niche in the revolution. You have some people who are very extremely savvy in weaponry and warfare. These are the people who we need to go out and start militias to be able to protect the area of economics so they won't be vulnerable. Then you have people who are health experts. And what they do is they provide us with certain avenues and natural medicines that are going to keep us living and breathing and healthy so that we can maintain our spirit of fight. So now they are there to protect the warriors so that the warriors don't get sick, and the warriors can protect the small businesses or our flourishing economy. So I believe that once we find our human potential, like you have the educators, I can't forget about them. The educators like Baba Amin, Marcus Klein, Baba Baruti, you know, the brothers who are very adept at education, they have a role to play also because they are educating the next generation. So what happens is that we put together this melting pot, and everybody has their human potential, and this is how we're going to function and operate, and then we can solve the riddle of how do we win a revolution.
Indeed. You know, I see that the unification that we are supposed to be focusing our attention on also is definitely present with things going on down there in Houston. Do you mind sharing, what are your thoughts and feelings on what our people are going through down there in Texas?
Well, we're always going to have tragedies. We're always going to have natural disasters. That comes with the territory. It's good to see a lot of groups, especially Black liberation groups. It's good to see my timeline, especially with sisters like you. It's good to see my timeline flooded with people saying, yo, we're going down there to help. So it gives me hope that we have a heart for each other. And it totally dispels the myth that all we do is argue, fuss, fight, which we do a lot when we're family, right?
Yes.
But it kind of dispels that myth that Black people don't stick together. So now we see like, hey, we're going down to Houston. We're going to Houston. We're going to Houston. So it really brings me joy and hope for the future, because now we see that we can stand for each other during the time of crisis.
Yes. And, it's a lot of this going on right now. It just took place in Sierra Leone, where we lost at least 1,000 of our family members over there. So we have to, the brother was speaking upon signs and symbols. We have to pay attention to the signs of the times and what the ancestors are trying to convey to us. And what I drew up just from observing the situation, observing how people are operating, and having the knowledge that I have, it shows me that our ancestors want us and are forcing us to get back to that space of love for one another.
Right.
Especially in the Black empowerment movement, the work gets done. It gets done. There are people doing fabulous, wonderful work. Yet a lot of ego has been running rapid amongst us with our fists in the air for the last few years, and it has gotten terrible. So what are your views on restoring integrity to the Black empowerment movement?
Hey, it's hard, right? Because there's a lot of times where I failed as a leader. Mm-hmm. I looking at myself, I had several missteps that I had. And, a lot of it was because of ego. When I start thinking back on a lot of my mistakes, I started thinking of a concept that I read about. I can't remember where, but it was called failing forward. So you can fail, but you have to fail forward. And if you fail forward, then that means you still make progress in the meantime. So one of my biggest mistakes that I first made in the movement, and it had to do with my ego, right? Mm-hmm. Is I started off really like by myself, and I got to the point to where I didn't wait on anybody to do anything with me. If I wanted to do something, I'd pick up the phone and I'd do it. I'd get it done. If I needed something, I was going to get it. But it was my drive, my motivation, my desire. And sometimes what happened is I would have the man, Shakem, you're doing a good job. You just slow down a little bit, think, and just take a step back and analyze things. My ego would make me look at a person and be like, man, you don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've been in this movement for a long time, or, man, I've been doing this forever. What do you can't tell me nothing. And my ego was really, really in the way at first, because I felt like I was indestructible. I felt like I was invincible. But there were times to where, I had to actually be humbled, because I just wasn't, when I was just, and you know what? There was even an incident with Tariq Nasheed. When he came down to Charleston, you know what? If I could do that again, I would do it all over again. And I wouldn't even do it. Because let me tell you this, right? A lot of times we do things and we jump out there for people that, in all honesty, they don't care about themselves. And a lot of times there's a saying that says you have to pick and choose your battles wisely. And a lot of times parents tell us that, but we just don't understand the importance of it because we're too busy being bullheaded. So, you know, me trying to protect, you know, and want to be, you know, this huge protector. And hell, this is my city. I grew up in the city all my life. Can't nobody tell me nothing. What I did is I said, you know what? And whatever happens, to hell with it. Let's roll. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you find yourself in a situation to where you're like, you know what? It's not even worth it at the end of the day. Why am I inserting myself into drama for no reason just because I feel like this is my city, and if you talk trash about my city, I should be able to come and check you. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like, hell, I could check Tariq, he talking trash on YouTube. I could check the dude here in my city. Who cares? But at the end of the day, when you think about it, why aren't we checking the mayor? Why aren't we checking the governor? You know, you have all these white fascists coming in and raping the black community, but then you will go check your brother before you go check the white man. You know what I'm saying? And see, at that point, you know, I was to that point, but it was only after you really start thinking in terms of destroying the system when you really start thinking like that. You know, we're so quick to tell a brother, you know what, man, you can't come in this city. We tell a brother that fast. We don't tell a white man that, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I've done, you know, in my years of being an activist that kind of helped me fail forward. And so I've had my own bouts with ego a lot. You know, I still do have bouts with ego, but luckily I do have people around me that I began to listen to. And because ego is not necessarily a bad thing. The only way ego becomes bad is if it becomes unchecked.
Yeah.
Right? So unchecked ego is bad. It's all good to have a good ego. You know what I'm saying? You want to have self-esteem. You want to, you know, celebrate your victories. You want to think highly of yourself. Psychologically, that's something that builds us up as individuals. But when it becomes unchecked, that's whenever it becomes rampant and becomes a problem.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. You know, everybody has ego. Everybody. If a person tells you they don't have an ego, they are clearly lying to you, family.
Right.
And that the thing is, everything in balance, everything in moderation. You know, show your ego when it's necessary, put it away when it's necessary. So thank you for that. And moving and as far as acknowledgement and celebration, we were notified last Friday that you had gotten the nomination for, I believe it's the Revolutionary of the Year. I could be off on the official
political activism.
Okay,
political activism.
Okay, and how does that make you feel? You know, how does having a group of your peers come together and saying, you know, Shakem is doing great work, we would love to see him acknowledged officially?
You know what? I'm happy that I was nominated, like extremely, because it's always good whenever you know, see and understand that people, you know, appreciate your work, and that's good. And I always say one of the greatest feelings that I have, because normally when it gets cold, I do midnight runs, right? So I gather a lot of blankets, a lot of donations, food, all of that. So what I do, and you know, all for the last 2-3 years, I kind of like make videos when I go out at night, you know, just out in the cold. Now, I don't show people faces, but you know, I might show the act of giving to kind of inspire people, but I don't really too much show the faces. But you know, I go to homeless people sleeping on the bench 1-2 in the morning in the cold. I give them a blanket. The best feeling in the world is when they say thank you, man. I love you. I appreciate you. You know, these are some of the best feelings when you know that your work is not being done in vain. That's what keeps me going. I've been burnt out so many times, but the thing is, it keeps me going, knowing that, you know, I can actually change people's world who are living under a state of tyranny homelessness and oppression. You know, I can actually help them, even with the smallest of things that make them happy. So, you know, it humbles me and it makes me happy that, you know, people would think about me. But see, me, I'm kind of like, you know, sometimes we call ourselves damaged goods.
Yeah.
So I'm after being like going through a lot of, you know, wars and fights and all of that, like you become damaged goods a little bit. So they be like, man, you got nominated for an award. I be like, oh Lord, here we go. Like, let me. All I know, as soon as it come out, guess what they gonna say? Oh man, hell with him. And so you know, it just comes with the territory. So you know, but then after a while, I started thinking, well, you know, we can't really pay too much attention to the nation here. But as soon as they said, you know, I was nominated, first thing came to my head was, I know how this, know how this gonna go. Next thing you know, oh man, he's this and that, he's this and that. But at the end of the day, right? You gotta, as long as you're, you know, back when I was a Muslim, there was a saying by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, you know, in a hadith, he said, you know, let your good deeds outweigh your bad. So he was saying that every day, the test of a true Muslim is whether his good deeds outweigh his bad. So we know we're going to have bad deeds, but I believe that, you know, our success derives from us being able to say we do more good than we do harm.
That's right. You know, it definitely. And I, for one, want to say thank you for what you do. It's definitely needed and appreciated. If there's one thing you could change about our people right now, what would that be?
I would say our personal attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, you know what? I'm going to go beyond that. I'm going to say the way how we speak about each other as a whole. I think that is the first priority. Because a lot of times when I go into school, I hear young people say, blacks don't stick together. You know, or somebody does something in class. Like, there was a boy the other day, like Tuesday, I was in North Charleston High School, one of the worst high schools in the city. And as a matter of fact, out of the 9th grade class, the incoming 9th grade class, 90% of them read on a 2nd grade to 4th grade level. So 90% of the children entering in to 9th grade read between a 2nd and 4th grade level. It's a Title I failing school. I went in the classroom, right? And I was talking to the students and asked the boy what he wanted to be. And his thing, oh man, I want to be a pharmacist. You know what I'm saying? I want to major in pharmaceuticals. I knew where he was coming. You know what I'm saying? But then the girl, she said, you know what? Black people always say stuff dumb. Black people always say stuff dumb. You know, and when you see students on a 9th grade level making that type of generalization about all black people, that's very concerning. Because we do have black scholars, we have black educators, we have black lawyers, we have black scientists, we have blacks who are excelling in economics, we have blacks who are providing jobs and helping people. We have African-centered education, you know, schools that are coming up. So we don't have to always classify and lump all black people into a sentence that is speaking negative or pejoratively about our people. So I believe that is one of the first things that if I can change, I would change, because perception is reality. So if that's your perception of all black people, then eventually that is going to become your reality. And like Dr. Amos Wilson quoted in Blueprint for Black Power, he said, power is the ability to define reality and then make other people accept your definition of reality as their own. So I forgot who he quoted, but he quoted that from somebody else. So that'll be my first thing.
Awesome.
If I could change.
Wonderful. And going into the realm of scholarship, who would be some of the master teachers that have influenced your teachings and why?
Oh, when I was in prison, all I did was read Amos Wilson. That's Amos Wilson, between Amos Wilson and Dr. Ashra Kwesi, that was 70% of my scholarship when I was in prison. I mean, those two, Amos and Ashra Kwesi, that was in every book. Amos Wilson. When I call home and I call my little brother, I said, man, send me something by Amos Wilson. Send me something. You know, whenever we was ordering DVDs in the chapel department in the BOP, as soon as we could order DVDs, hey, we want that Ashra Kwesi. Then we have to hide it because when the Christians would come, and we had a group, me and the brother Aku Ma'al Karu, matter of fact, his name is Colbert Bay. The brother's in FCI Butler right now. But when we was in Yazoo City, Mississippi, we started the group, the House of Shetan Netta. So we started, you know, teaching. Actually, I was teaching the Tree of Life system by Ra'un Nefer Amen. Sorry, his name escaped me. But I was teaching the Tree of Life system. That was like years ago. But I mean, scholarship, man. Those two brothers right there, they got me right.
Indeed. And we live in a time where you know, the whole YouTube scholar thing is taking off, and a lot of misinformation is being spread about our people and our history. What is one truth that you would emphasize to the youth about who they are?
Oh, man. Wow. Man, you know what kind of question that is? Ooh. Well, this is why Baba Kwesi comes in, you know, in the play in my life. Because when he starts actually giving you understanding of who you are and what we have the potential to be, where we came from, I think that means a lot. But you know what? In all honesty, what really turned around was the autobiography of Malcolm X. That was like one of the first books I read. Matter of fact, when I was still in county jail, brother gave me that book. That was before I went to the federal prison. Brother gave me that book, and I started reading it. But I would say, you know, Ashra Kwesi definitely gives us a breakdown of our greatness and who we are. I would just, man, any one of his DVDs will be enough to really start giving brothers a good understanding of our greatness and what we can achieve.
Indeed. So we all, you know, we claim to be about restoring the Black family unit and that the babies are the greatest. And if it ain't about the babies, it ain't about nothing. What part of your platform is specifically catered to the upliftment of children?
Oh, man, great question. When I go into schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into schools, one of the things that I always talk to the young children about is perception. You know, the way how we speak to each other, the things that we say. You know, watch what you call yourself. Because the things that you know, there's something that Dr. Amos Wilson wrote about that was, I think it was another African, falsification of African consciousness. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't read so many of his books, so it kind of gets blurred sometimes. But he was talking about, no, this is in the Understanding the Genius of Children, something like that. But I got the little pink book. I like I said, I got all his books. But he was talking about indiscriminate imitation. So when you start looking at the early childhood development, children indiscriminately imitate everything that they see. So when you say stop, the child say stop. You know, you say hi, the child say hi. You know, they pick up everything because at that point in time, their brain is a sponge, and what they do is they imitate everything indiscriminately because they don't have the capability of understanding right from wrong. They're just picking up your behavior and then taking it as their own. So with children, when I go into elementary school, I always start talking to them about who they are, what they want to be, trying to give them that path to success in building their human potential. So when they say, I don't allow them to use the N-word at all. I don't even want them to say that in my midst. I want them to call each other king. The school one of the schools I mentioned is an all-boys school. So I want them to call themselves king. I want them to talk about, their greatness and who they can be. So that's how I utilize my platform in schools to reach children, to teach them how to grow into their human potential.
Wonderful. I love it. I absolutely love it. And is there a way people can donate to that endeavor? Send you some resources to help out?
What did you say? I can't hear you. That sounds like your phone broke up.
I said, is there a way people can send you some donations or resources to help out with what you got going on in the schools?
Well, you know what, sis? I'm gonna tell you like this: as long as I've been in activism and helping out, I have never put up a GoFundMe page or asked anybody to donate. The reason why it's so much people out here, man, that it seems like there's so many people with bad intentions. I just have a sense of taboo asking people for resources. I don't know. It's just something in my soul that I just hate doing it. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's for a good cause, I just hate doing it because I don't want to be looked at as a person who is out here trying to just, collect money and things like that. So, I don't know, but, hey, there are donations like school supplies, and I'm very picky about taking money. I hate taking money. I would rather somebody send a gift card, because there's a lot of places like Office Depot, Office Max, Target, Walmart. I would rather somebody, a lot of times send a gift card, so that it can be. It's just not cash. I don't like to deal with people's money like that because I feel like, but you can find me on Facebook, Shakem Speaks, and if you want to talk to me about helping out, if there's anything that you would like to contribute, come on my page, inbox me. I can definitely show you a lot of the work in the community that we do. And I think that's why one of the main reasons I have been successful in spite of some of the negative things that people have to say, because at the end of the day, when somebody talks about somebody, and we all know this from being in the Black Power community, when somebody talks negatively about somebody, the first thing we do is go on their page. Because we're nosy. We're nosy people. So the first thing, if I see somebody, they talking about somebody, first thing you do is type in their name and you go find them. So I make sure that when somebody goes and does their investigation, they say, boy, you know what? I don't know, man. This dude looks solid to me. Mm-hmm. You can say, who's that dude, Shakem? He's an integrated. Let me go on his page. You go on my page, you see helping the community. You see passing out blankets. You see they helping to pay for people records get expunged. You see them advocating for people to get jobs. You see them going into school. So now you say, you know what? Man, that dude is a hater. Mm-hmm. So it's just like I was telling you the other day, I think we need to become more strategic in the art of war. A lot of people say, oh man, those are European books. But listen, pick up the art of war. Pick up the 33 strategies of war. Pick up these books and read them. We must understand warfare at its finest. And when leaders always got to make tough decisions. But when you make tough decisions, understand that, there's going to be some good, but there's going to be some backlash. But as a leader, you got to be able to make tough calls during times of crisis. And when you make those tough calls, you got to stick with it. And sometimes you're going to take some heat. But in the end, if you accomplish your goal, when people start looking back, they say, you know what? That was one of the best moves that man ever made. But it comes with the territory. You just got to be ready to make those tough calls.
Comprehensive and logical thinking is definitely needed during this time. we just spoke to how our brothers and sisters get down on each other and degrade each other and be so negative with one another, especially when it comes to social media. You know, virtual reality will have somebody that's just waking up into the knowledge of themselves looking at, what the hell did I just walk into? You know, so we definitely have to have a reestablishment, I would say, of the code of ethics and working from a space of integrity. Because you're right, brother. You know, I went to your page and I'm like, okay, you know, let me see what the king got going on, because he done took this picture with this white boy. I'm confused. I want to know what's going on with my brother.
Yeah.
So
but you know what? I didn't take a picture. That was a part of the press conference, and people were just snapping pictures. So I mean, it was like a picture of the event.
Yeah.
And me and Bessinger, when one of the pictures, we was actually doing an interview with a guy on PBS, and we was talking to him, and that's where you saw that other picture. So, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you one thing, and when I say it, I might piss some people off, but guess what? At this point, like, I don't too much like to curse, right? Because I like all audiences to be able to listen to what I have to say. So I only curse every now and then, so I don't, you know, but, you know, at this point, as a leader, I have 0 fucks to give. I don't have any more left. I already gave them all out. So now, since I have 0 fucks left in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? I had a couple every now and then. I was real careful. You know, like, damn, I got like 2 fucks, 1 left. But now I got to the point where I ain't got no more left. I have 0 fucks left. So I just be like, oh, well, you know, it is what it is. But to be honest with you, that certain, not all of them, but certain, I was kind of intrigued when I was talking to the white boy, right? I was listening to him. Because, see, me, like I said, I'm a strategist. So I'm going to do more listening than I do talking. That's me. I'm a thinker. I try to outthink my opponent. And at the same time, my opponent is trying to outthink me. So we know it's a game of chess. We know we didn't trust each other. I didn't know he could have had something that was recording me. So I'm always thinking in a hostile environment because that's the type of person I am. See, I know that, you know, the white boy, they walk around with the 3 percenters. The 3 percenters are a militia group here in this city, and they're all militia group. I know a lot of people might, you know about the 3 percenters, but they're all militia group. That's who they walk around with. They call themselves constitutionalists. But, you know, I don't get down with them, boy, but, you know, just listening to how, you know, everything that they do, black people, we should be doing. See, they're proud of their heritage. We're not proud of our heritage. They're proud of their heritage. They don't want to adopt nobody else's heritage. They want their own heritage. We should want our own heritage. They have their own militia. We should want our own militia. The white boy said, man, we got this land, and we go down here, man, and we train. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. That's what we should be doing. That's what we are doing in a lot of areas. You know, so the thing is, the way how, you know, they operate is nationalism. You know, that's the type of mentality that we should have. They will tell you in a heartbeat, listen, we don't have a problem with you having African-centered schools because we don't want to go to your schools. They shouldn't want to go to our schools. We shouldn't want to fight to go into their schools. We can learn so much by just sitting down and listening to somebody who's a who's a separatist or a secessionist. Not to say that we want to join them, because they don't want you to join them. You ain't gonna join them. But the thing is, you have to look. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Study the white man, for he is successful at what he does." And when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that, a message to the black man, he was trying to get the brothers to realize that the white man has so many things in place that benefits him. If we study the white man, then guess what? We can take the lesson that has made him successful and we can use it for ourselves. And everything that I saw, which, you know, he wouldn't reveal to me everything, which of course, we're not friends, so of course he's not going to reveal everything. But the little bit that he was able to tell me, I said, you know what, man, black people, we should be doing the same thing. Same thing. So I learned a lesson. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, that was one of the best conversations I had with a white boy in my whole life. I mean, I'm going to just be real. Normally when I have a conversation with a white boy, it's like, it's on some old, man, you know, we want to do for self. Oh, man, you a racist. Man, we want our own schools. Oh, man, you a racist. We got our own flag. Why you don't fly the American flag? Normally, that's the type of conversation you have when you talk to the regular, average white boy. You know what I'm saying? You talk about having your own, and then he turn around and call you a racist because you want to have your own. But in this case, you talk to a white boy, you say, man, we want our own schools. They be like, good. We got our own schools. We don't want to bother you. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. It is what it is. Do you trust them? No. But then, you know what I'm saying? You'll never trust your enemy. But then it's good to know that they're not trying to be, you know, somebody who's like a Black Lives Matter and a George Soros and control your movement.
Definitely. You know, we have to open up our minds. See, a lot of us are still religious in our thinking. So monkey see, monkey do, or whatever the next person says is what I'm going to follow without actually doing and doing the research themselves and finding out the truth for themselves and making up being a free thinker, making up their mind for themselves. So I definitely appreciate your being authentic in your ways and thinking and just being you. And it's like, let the cards fall how they may. I'm still going to do the work that I want to do for my people.
Word, let them fall. Let them fall.
Indeed.
Let them fall.
We need more of that. You know, it's too much of the whole cliquish, gangish going on. The religion thing is prominent. You can tell where the oppressor still has his hands around some of our people's minds, just how they operate. So that's one of the reasons that it inspired me to speak with you, because I'm like, I want to know what was going on here. I looked at your page. Like I said, I'm very aware of your name. I said, this brother does some very powerful work out here. So it got to be something up with that move. That just can't be something we got to look and take for a superficial thing. We got to dig deeper and actually hear what the brother has on his mind. So, you know, I definitely thank you for that.
And I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity, you know, to speak and talk and to kind of give a good background. Because, I mean, like I said, I feel like, you know, at this point in time, you know, we're brothers and sisters, man, who are in the movement. They're gonna be some tough calls that you're gonna have to make, and you're gonna have to suck it up. And I just don't want people to automatically don't do something because you feel that a certain small group of people is gonna be upset.
Yeah.
Right? The first thing we gotta be able to do is take criticism. You got, like, if you have to be able to know how to take criticism and still keep standing. And if you know what you're doing is right, then sometimes you got to play for the long run. Don't play for the like I said, when I first made that move, I sat down and thought everything out. I never do things indiscriminately. I thought of 6 people immediately that were going to come out. You don't think, after all the foolishness that me and Tariq Nasheed was in, you don't think that I sat down and I knew he was going to be one of the first people to go on social media and try to attack me? I already knew that. I'm not an idiot. I knew that. The person who you probably saw that posted something that said something smart, I knew he was going to say something. I pride myself on being a strategic thinker. So now, like I said, I had to ask myself, will the voices of pleasure be more than the voices of pain? And more people said, you know what? We understand. I salute you. More people said yay than more people said nay. So in the end, when you got those type of numbers in your favor, you gotta roll with it.
Indeed, definitely, I agree. So, before we wrap it on up tonight, because I know you got to get your rest, you're a very busy man. Do you have anything else you would like to share with our people? And also, would you mind giving them your contact information in case they want to, help out, even book you to speak, or, however that works. So the floor is yours, brother.
Right. Like I said, I just want to thank everybody for listening, man. Anybody who took the time to hear this, I salute you. My supporters, people who support me, man, I thank you for sticking with me through a lot of tough times and through the good times. I love having a large support system. That's one thing that keeps me going. And I thank everybody who doesn't agree with me. I thank the people who put my name in the atmosphere negatively, because things like this always pan out. So whoever saw the page and was talking trash, look what happened. Now I just was able to spread the message of what I was doing and what I wanted to accomplish and how I accomplished it. So somebody actually learned a history lesson tonight. So things that are always meant, sometimes people do things that are meant to have an adverse effect on you, and they end up having the opposite. So that's always, one of the rules of engagement and rules of war, So I just, everybody just stay focused, do what you do. Whenever you make and to everybody out there who's a leader in your respective field, listen, never be afraid to make tough calls. There's no way you're a leader and you don't have to make a tough call. So one day you're going to have to sit down and scratch your head for about 3 hours or 4 hours, or maybe sleep on it, and say, you know what, should I do this? Everybody, man, just continue to stay positive. Let's continue to fight, learn from each other, love each other. Man, I appreciate, the people who voted for me for the Black Power Award. I will be in Atlanta. I hope I was able to inspire some people tonight. Hey, man, learn from our mistakes. I hope that, I can continue to be a pillar in the community. My name is Shakem, Shakem, Amen, Amen, Aket, Akhet. Y'all can catch me on the book. And I love y'all, man. I thank you for having me too, sis.
Always, I'm glad we were able to make this connection. I'm feeling real good about things, brother. So with that being said, family, tonight was a very powerful episode, like I expected it to be. The brother Shakem Akhet came through and shared what was on his mind with the family, and I for one am grateful. So tune in about 30 minutes when we'll have our next episode. We got a double header tonight. We're discussing the Black Power Awards and the importance of it to the Black community. Yeah, every Wednesday night is what we do. So tune in about 30 more minutes and we'll be back. Thank you, brother. Thank you, my king. It's been an honor.
All right. Peace and power, Queen.
Peace, love, and Black Power.
Black Power.